Solving two-step equations. In these examples, you're going to have multiple steps of solving the equation. Instead of just one thing to undo, you're going to have to undo multiple things. A couple things to remember. When you are solving two-step equations, you want to always work outside in. So start with the thing that's furthest away from the variable, and then work towards the variable. That's the idea. Okay, so this first one, we have r over 10, r divided by 10, plus 4 equals 5. So when we are working on this one, we're going to work outside in. So the divided by 10 is closest to the r, so we're going to start by getting rid of the 4 because it's further away. So we look at the opposite of plus 4, which is minus 4. So I subtract 4 from both sides. So I have r over 10 equals 5 minus 4, which is 1. And now we're to the problem similar to the one-step equation because we only have one thing to do. We have r divided by 10 equals 1. So I'm going to multiply, because the opposite of divide is multiply, by 10. So when I multiply by 10, the 10's cancel out. Multiply by 10, and I get r equals 1 times 10, which is 10. So that is my final answer. In this next problem, we have 3p minus 2 equals negative 29. The 3p is very close together. It's all, the 3 is touching the p. So that means that if we're working outside in, then we're going to start with this minus 2. So the opposite of minus is plus. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So negative 2 plus 2 cancels out, leaving me with 3 times p equals negative 29 plus 2, which is a negative 27. Now the next step, I have 3 times p, so to get rid of a times p, the opposite of multiply is to divide by that number, divide by 3. Divide by 3. So p equals negative 27 divided by 3, which is a negative 9, and that is your final answer. So this next equation, we have 1 minus r equals negative 5. So the first thing I want you to do is whenever you see a minus a variable or anything like that, just put a negative 1 there, because that might help you to remember that it's a negative 1. So now I have 1 minus 1 times r equals negative 5. So the first thing, this negative sign is right next to the r, so it's multiplied by it. So what I'm going to do is start by getting rid of this plus 1. I might start by rewriting it actually as negative 1r plus 1 equals negative 5. All I did here was I switched these two around. And that's fine as long as you take the negative sign with you. So when I'm solving this, now I'm going to get rid of the plus 1 by subtracting 1 from both sides. So plus 1 minus 1 is going to equal 0. So I have negative 1r equals negative 5 minus 1, which is a negative 6. And then I have negative 1 times r equals negative 6. So to get rid of times r, I need to divide by the number. So I'm going to divide by negative 1. When I divide by negative 1, that cancels out. And then I have r equals divide by negative 1. Negative 6 divided by negative 1, I have a double negative. So that's going to turn it into a positive. So r equals 6. And that is your final answer. And the next one, I'm going to start by rewriting it so I can see it a little bit better. X divided by negative 3 plus 8 equals 6. So again, I'm going to work outside in. So basically when I say outside in, it means reverse order of operations. So you do the order of operations in reverse. Instead of parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, addition, subtraction, it's going to be the addition and subtraction first, most of the time, not always, and then the multiplication and division. Then the exponents, if you need to deal with the exponents, and then the parentheses. Okay, we're not going to be really getting to a whole lot of these yet, but we will eventually. So we do that last. So that being said, if we start with our addition and subtraction, we're going to subtract 8. The opposite of plus 8 is minus 8 from both sides, leaving me with x over negative 3 equals 6 minus 8, which is a negative 2. Now the next step is to get rid of divided by negative 3. So the opposite of divided by is multiply. So I'm going to multiply by a negative 3. And that cancels. Do it to both sides. So I have x equals negative 2 times negative 3, which is a double negative. So that changes it to a positive. So I have 2 times 3 is 6. Final answer. For example number 5, we have negative 5x minus 7 equals 28. So I'm going to start with the plus or minus. The plus or minus is the minus 7. So opposite of minus 7 is plus 7. So negative 7 plus 7 is going to cancel out to 0, leaving me with negative 5x by itself equals 28 plus 7 is 35. So next I have negative 5 times x is going to equal 35. So to get rid of times, I need to divide. The opposite of multiply is divide. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is going to cancel out to 1 and leave me with just the x. Divide by a negative 5 because you got to do it to both sides. 35 divided by a negative 5 is going to be negative 7. And that is your final answer. And the next equation, example 6, x minus 5, all of that over 2 equals 5. Okay, so now this is where the reverse order of operations comes in hand. Instead of parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, addition, subtraction. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're not going to do the addition and subtraction because the addition and subtraction is inside parentheses, which comes after. So we're doing this first, second, third, fourth, and so on. So we don't have the addition and subtraction yet. The multiplication and division, we have x minus 5 divided by 2. All of it is divided by 2. So I'm going to start with the multiplication and division. And as of now, it is divided by, so to get rid of it, I need to multiply. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. Because when I multiply that by 2, it cancels out. Multiply 5 by 2. I get x minus 5 equals 10. Now I can write it without the parentheses if I want, because they no longer are doing any good. X minus 5 equals 10. So now I get rid of minus 5, so plus 5, and x equals 10 plus 5 is 15. And that is the final answer. So those are your notes over solving two-step equations. Go through some practice problems. Make sure that you can solve the different ones and understand the different ways that they can be written and solved. And then you should be ready for the quiz over this material.